So imagine you're watching The Wolf of Wall Street and suddenly you're intrigued by the whole concept of money laundering. You start picturing yourself as this big shot criminal with loads of cash to move around, but you're stuck because you can't exactly stroll into a bank with a suitcase full of money without raising some serious suspicion. That's where the art of money laundering comes in. It's like turning dirty money into clean cash, ready to be spent on whatever your heart desires, whether it's luxury yachts, swanky real estate, or late-night adventures at strip clubs. But fear not, because there is a way to make your ill-gotten gains virtually untraceable. China happens to be a leading pack in this ancient practice, with trillions of dollars slipping out of the country despite strict currency laws. And it's not just China. Money laundering is a global affair, with everyone from corrupt politicians to drug lords getting in on the action. Now, when it comes to laundering money, there are three main steps to getting it right. First up is placement, which is when cash enters the financial system for the first time. You might deposit in a bank, funnel it through an existing business, or cook up some creative transactions to disguise its origins. But here's the catch. If you dump a huge pile of cash all at once, you're practically begging to get caught. That's why most savvy criminals opt for a series of smaller transactions that fly under the radar. But here's the kicker. This first step is the riskiest. If anyone starts poking around your deposits at this stage, you're in hot water. None of the fancy excuses or justifications you'll come up with later in the process will hold water yet. So yeah, when it comes to money laundering, it's a high-stakes game where one wrong move could land you in cuffs faster than you can say, clean money. Alright, so we've covered the first step of money laundering, placement. Now let's dive into the next phase, that's layering. This is where things get really intricate. Picture mixing your dirty money with clean cash or constantly shuffling it around to throw off anyone trying to trace it. It's like playing an elaborate game of financial hide-and-seek. During layering, the goal is to bury your ill-gotten gains in a flurry of complex transactions. Maybe you take some of that cash and hit the casinos, then funnel it into stocks, swap it between different currencies, and finally, stash it in seemingly legit financial products like life insurance policies. The idea is to make it nearly impossible for even the sharpest accountant to tell the dirty money apart from the clean stuff. Now, while layering might seem safer than the placement stage, it's still no walk in the park. Slip up and you could find yourself in hot water again. Imagine a business suddenly doubling its daily transactions. That kind of sudden change is bound to raise some eyebrows. Finally, we come to the last step, integration. This is where the laundered money re-enters the legitimate economy, looking squeaky clean. It might get funneled into high-end assets, properties, long-term investments, or even used to kickstart new businesses. The goal here is to make the money blend in seamlessly with legal funds, making it nearly impossible to trace back to its illicit origins. Now, there are different flavors of money laundering schemes, from casino tricks to cash-heavy businesses and even sneaky foreign investments. And here's the kicker. A full-fledged money laundering operation often juggles multiple schemes to stay under the radar. For example, cash from businesses might hit the tables at the casino and then get funneled into investments or offshore accounts to cover its tracks. It's a complex dance of deception designed to keep the authorities guessing. Alright, let's dive into the world of the casino scheme. This is like something straight out of a heist movie. Here's how it goes down. First, the dirty cash gets converted into casino chips. Then these chips are played with for a bit and swapped back into cold, hard cash. It's a bit like a magic trick, but with money. Now, here's where it gets sneaky. Often the casino where this whole charade goes down is in a different country than where the money originated. This makes it super tricky for law enforcement to track down any evidence of the laundering. So, in the placement stage, the cash gets handed over to someone acting as a middleman who then swaps it for chips. Sometimes these chips are even bundled into travel packages by shady travel agencies, a clever way to move cash without leaving a digital trail. Next comes the layering phase, and this is where the chips or the cash are taken into the casino and used for gambling, but here's the catch. Most of the time, only a fraction of the chips actually get wagered. Instead, they're likely played with for a few hours before being cashed back out. Now, here's the genius part. The receipts from cashing out are used to prove the money's legitimacy. Since there's no record of exactly how many chips went in, the launderer can claim they started with a small sum and just got lucky with the winnings. Finally, we reach the integration stage. Once the winnings are reported and any taxes are paid, the cash is free to be used however the launderer pleases. Now, let's switch gears to another popular scheme, the cash business scheme. This one's a classic, used by everyone from street hustlers to infamous gangsters like Al Capone. The idea is simple. Funnel dirty cash through businesses that deal primarily in cash transactions. Placement in this scheme involves handing over the illicit cash directly to the business owner or manager. Then throughout the day, fake transactions are slipped into the books to disguise the dirty money as legitimate earnings. It's like cooking the books, but with a criminal twist. This scheme might be slower, but it's steady. With profits rolling in every day, the launderer can keep the cash flowing. Once taxes are paid on the reported profits, the money is as good as clean and ready to be used for anything from fancy cars to lavish vacations. With that said, let's explore the realm of smurfing. It's like something out of a covert operation. The term smurfing comes from the idea of breaking down a large sum of cash into tiny, inconspicuous amounts, just like those little blue cartoon characters. So, here's how it works. The dirty cash is divvied up among a network of trusted individuals known as smurfs, who then deposit back into various accounts in smaller, less suspicious increments. This helps skirt around the bank's reporting requirements, since lots of small deposits from different people are less likely to raise any red flags. In the placement stage, the cash gets distributed among the smurfs, who are usually part of larger criminal organizations with a large pool of willing participants. Then comes the layering phase, where the money gets deposited back into different accounts, but here's the twist. It has to be done in a way that avoids automatic detection. This means depositing the cash in varying amounts and at different times to fly under the radar. Now, while smurfing might seem like a slick move, it's not without its risks. If those deposits do end up under scrutiny, the launderer could find themselves in hot water trying to explain the source of all that cash. Now let's switch gears to the foreign investment scheme. This one's a bit more sophisticated. Picture this: countries encourage investing in US businesses, but the IRS doesn't always have a tight grip on where that money comes from. Cue the launderer delivering cash to a foreign investor, who then funnels it back into the launderer's business through investments. Placement in this scheme happens when the cash is handed over to the foreign partner, keeping the launderer's hands clean. Then, in the layering stage, the foreign business invests the money into legitimate ventures, making it hard to trace back to its illicit origins. Now, while the scheme might seem like a golden ticket, extracting the money can be trickier. Sure, large sums of money can be moved around, but it needs to be done carefully to avoid suspicion. Typically, the launderer will tap into the profits generated by the investments or siphon cash through hefty executive salaries funded by the original investment. It's a high-stakes game of financial sleight of hand, where every move has to be calculated to avoid getting caught. And that's a wrap for today's video. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope that you found it insightful. Now, we want to hear from you. What's your take on money laundering schemes? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay in the loop for our next video. Until next time.